Looking back, we can recall many historical figures who have made significant contributions to the American history, whether it be in terms of music, technology, or even changes in social norms. My project today will be going over a man who challenged those social norms and went on to make great strides in the efforts of African American equality in the early to mid 1900s, a well-renowned man by the name of William Edward Burghardt Du Bois. W.E.B. Du Bois, a man who dedicated his life to fighting social inequalities, became the first black man to obtain a doctorate from Harvard University and co-founded the NAACP. W.E.B. Du Bois was born in Great Barrington, Georgia, on February 23, 1868. Born during a more tolerant and inclusive atmosphere, he was encouraged by his white teachers to go to school and even advanced quickly through his schooling. Showing immediate interest in journalism, by the age of 15 he was already a regular columnist for two regional newspapers, the Springfield Republican and the black-owned New York Globe, and they even went on to manage several more influential newspapers dedicated to African American rights many years later. In 1884, W.E.B. Du Bois graduated high school, being the only graduate amongst 12 African American students. From there, he would go on to continue his education by getting his undergraduate degree in Nashville, Tennessee through Fisk University in 1885, and later became the first black man to receive a PhD from Harvard University in 1896. In 1899, a gruesome lynching of a man known as Sam Hose occurred in the county of Coweta, Georgia. Sam Hose was charged with murdering his employer, assaulting his child, and sexually assaulting his employer's wife. After Sam Hose was caught and lynched, it was discovered that the reason for the altercation was that Sam had gone to his employer to request time off to visit his ailing mother, and his employer had threatened him with a gun and threatened to kill him if he had stopped working. Sam Hose, acting in self-defense, killed his employer and then proceeded to flee. It was also revealed that the accusations of the assault on the employer's child and wife were fabricated in order to incite anger and motivation with the mob chasing him. It was with this incident that W.E.B. Du Bois decided to switch his focus from studying the Negro problem to propaganda in an effort to spread awareness of the Negro problem. In 1905, Du Bois brought together a group of 29 men from 14 states to discover a way to become a more legislative and social force rather than just a protest force. Here they prioritized the banishment of segregation and discrimination in unions, courts, and all forms of accommodations available to the public. They had initially attempted to meet on the American side of the famous Niagara Falls to form a national black strategy, but no hotel would allow the gathering. They had then decided to meet together on the Canadian side, and here this would come to be known as the Niagara Movement and would meet annually. This group would also set the foundation to develop the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People only 4 years later, and he would also continue to manage the NAACP's monthly article, The Crisis. As mentioned before, W.E.B. Du Bois dedicated his whole life to not only improving the quality of life for African Americans in America, but for people of African descent all around the world. In his life, he published 19 books, edited 4 major magazines, and in addition to that, he co-authored children's books on the subject of race and wrote numerous articles and speeches. At the age of 93, Du Bois moved to Ghana in 1961 at the request of President Nkrumah to start as an editor for the Encyclopedia Africana. Here he was also provided citizenship, but sadly W.E.B. Du Bois would pass away 2 years later on August 27, 1963, before its completion. And just a day before the historic Million Man March in Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. would give his famous I Have a Dream speech. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. W.E.B. Du Bois.